Are there somewhere islands over the horizon, hidden by the morning mist, forever out of reach? A song by Meal Ticket, used as the introductory music for the science fiction play The Flip Side of Dominic Hyde. Lundy was certainly hidden by the morning mist when the ferryload of members of the Society of Lay Hunters approached it on April the 28th, although the weather seemed clear and was for the whole week, and we were very close before this 3-mile-long granite rock in the Bristol Channel loomed into view. Likewise, it was quick to disappear as we left. It also seemed very much out of reach for some of our speakers, including Robin Heath, co-author of The Measure of Albion, arriving in a sailing ketch, who had to sit offshore for 2 days, unable to land because of the heavy seas. They eventually had to return to Devon and come on the ferry. The organiser Lawrence Main had major reorganisation of the planned programme to do, but managed this magnificently, and most of the planned speakers were heard. We had a wide variety of thought-provoking subjects, as well as seeing prehistoric sites and stunning scenery of the island, a moorland plateau above sheer cliffs, exhibiting many simulacra, with only one small beach, and enjoying May celebrations. Despite its small size, the island is very rich in ancient sites, and as Robin Heath described in his talk, seems to be the corner of a massive but precise right-angled triangle, with proportion associated with the cycles of the moon, linking it with and seemingly determining the position of Stonehenge, being at exactly the same latitude. The north-running side of the triangle runs through Lundy Island to Carnwen in the Preseli Hills in Wales, which were the source of the bluestones. A Welsh name for the island is Ynys Ellen, Ellen's Island. Ellen, as well as being the name of a pagan goddess and a Celtic saint, is Welsh for elbow or corner, and this was seen as significant with regard to the corner of the triangle. On the Stone Pages website is an interesting idea of another lunation triangle to the south of the currently understood one. It occurs that if they had in mind a lunation triangle involving the Preseli Hills and Lundy Island for choosing the site of Stonehenge, and if they had had a form of alliance or kindred with the Cornish, there might be something in Cornwall at or around the corner of an opposing triangle, one which would face south from Lundy. This would put a corner at about 50.398 degrees north, 4.701 degrees west. It turns out there is. Dulo Stone Circle is at 50.398 north, a precise match, and 4.485 west, which is slightly off. The Cornish UFO Research Group, on their website, reported a very interesting sighting over this circle in 2006. In the early hours of Tuesday morning, 18th of July 2006, time 12:20 a.m, 2 witnesses were just arriving at their house in Dulo, near Looe in Cornwall. After parking their car outside their house, one of the witnesses took a quick look at the sky, as it was a lovely morning with a clear sky. Suddenly something caught the witness's eye. He then focused his eyes on some objects that were in the sky just across from the road. The witness then decided to go indoors to wake his son up. So now there were 3 witnesses. They then observed 7 disc-shaped objects which were illuminating a very bright yellow-white light, which were interacting with each other, and they were going around in circles and criss-crossing each other in the sky. They were also making a clicking sound noise. Just below the discs were 7 standing stones in a circle. After a period of 20 minutes, all the discs just disappeared. The 3 witnesses were amazed at what they had just seen. They'd never seen anything like this before. Later that week there was a story about a mini tornado in the same village, which happened on the same day as the sighting. On the page was also a picture of one of the Dulo stones with a strange effect on the picture, not taken at the same time as the sighting as far as I know. The stone is one of those which I have come to call lion stones, with a similarity to a lion's head that I have noticed at a number of stone circles: Avebury, Stanton Drew, Nannock, as well as on Lundy. When the Reverend Heaven, rector and lord of the manor of Lundy, built the substantial new church on the island in the 19th century, he had never heard of St. Ellen, so thought the name must refer to St. Helena, mother of the Emperor Constantine. Thus the church is dedicated to her. Ellen was also apparently the guardian goddess of London, a name similar to Lundy. As well as speaking, Robin Heath demonstrated the surveying methods by which he'd arrived at the site and position of the Stonehenge lunation triangle, positioning his theodolite on a mound, at which the corner was apparently situated. He also surveyed, with the help of a number of sole members, what seems to be a stone circle, although it's not recognised as such in the Lundy archaeological literature. He plotted this to see if it exhibited stone circle geometry, as described by Professor Thom, and found it was a very remarkable one indeed. This will be covered later in this video. This is part of a depiction of the River Severn from Polyolbion, the variety of Albion, by Michael Drayton in 1613, displayed at the Making History exhibition by the Society of Antiquaries of London at the Royal Academy. The exhibition was to mark the Society's tricentenary, as it was founded in 1707. The description by the exhibit says, Drayton was a Warwickshire poet who produced a great deal of verse on pastoral themes and on English historical subjects. In Polyolbion he celebrated the beauties of the land of Albion and the historical and legendary scenes enabled there. This part of the picture of the Severn shows Lundy with a woman standing on it who must surely be Ellen, with her elbows bent at right angles. Lundy is Ynys Ellen in Welsh. Ellen is the saint goddess associated with the island, but also means elbow or right angle in Welsh. She seems to be flanked by Neptune and his wife, and the goddess of the Severn seems to be to the right. There is a bird on her head and rabbits at her feet. Strangely, the rabbits seem to have been acting as archaeologists at the Lundy Moot. One of our number found a piece of Saxon pottery unearthed by them. A small group of us, with Pat Toms, later did some surveying of the stones on the island using dowsing rod and compass, and came up with some interesting alignments. Pat believes from his investigations that ancient stones were always placed on a site where there was some kind of geological anomaly to make them live sites. On Lundy this is usually a volcanic dike, where material was forced up in intrusions into the granite. Some of these are visible on the paths on Lundy and on coastal cliffs and rocks, where they are not hidden underground. A live location typically arises where two different types of material abut. This is somewhat reminiscent of the Reich healing accumulator, which uses layers of different types of material. Dikes are found to cross the island roughly linearly. Somehow ancient sites were chosen and triangulated to a central north-south alignment or lay. When dowsing, Pat first sought an enlivened feature, often an underground geological feature or topographical mound, then sought alignments to other sites. He did so, sometimes with his eyes closed, to ensure he wasn't being influenced by visual references. Someone else measured the bearing of the dowsing rod with a compass. A number of alignments were found around the island, but particularly north-south and east-west alignments, apparently matching the lunation triangle lines, and possibly other north-south ones parallel to it. The central north-south alignment seemed to be an accurate match for Robin's line. The east-west one was a little to the north, making the revised elbow point 94 paces to the north. There didn't seem to be anything marking the actual spot, but an apparent stone row was found running east-west to the cheeses, a sphinx-like simulacra in the coastal rocks. A parallel north running line runs through St Helena's Church, and the large monolith we dubbed the Dancing Stone because we had the May Day celebrations there, and also a cairn circle to the north. The castle keep above the landing beach aligns with the church and the site of the earlier church in the old cemetery by the Old Light. This cemetery was doused by a number of us as very powerful. It has 4 early Christian memorial stones by the wall, not in their original position. One of these has the letters T-I-G-E-R-N, which Lawrence felt could refer to Vortigern, the king in the Dark Ages who made an alliance with the Saxons. The large stone by the Morisco Tavern, under which had been found an 8-foot skeleton. Robin wrote an article for the issue of Touchstone magazine following the Lundy Moot about the stone circle we found. What a place is Lundy! Everybody needs to go there at least once in their lifetime. It's held its secrets well. I was there this time to do further research into a secret from the Stone Age described in my earlier books and, most recently, in The Measure of Albion, co-authored with John Michel. Lundy holds a secret about our national temple, Stonehenge. I had been asked to be a speaker and to lead field trips at the recent moot of the Society of Lay Hunters on Lundy Island. I said yes, but living in Wild West Wales and being of a green persuasion, it was clear that a drive to Devon via Bristol to catch the 20-mile ferry to Lundy was ecologically bonkers. So I asked my good friend Paul Welsh, owner of the 1913 ketch Keywade Inn, if it were possible to make a trip from the Welsh side, just 50 miles south. Thanks to the sterling efforts of Emma Orbach and the West Wales Light Workers Group, the Keywade Inn was duly chartered, and eventually, despite easterly gales that made landing on this tiny plateau in the Bristol Channel impossible a while, we anchored on the west of Lundy in Jenny's Cove, and passed the time effecting repairs to minor items on the boat and catching pollock, with which to make delicious fish pie. On Tuesday, 30th of April 2007, landing by dinghy was again abandoned, and Paul sailed to Bideford, and fellow speaker Hugh Newman and myself and 3 others caught the MS Oldenburg, finally placing feet onto Lundy after a nearly aborted docking on the jetty in Rat Island, and on Beltane too, and the evening bringing a perfect full moon. Following a field trip to the Tump, where this secret is revealed, there was about an hour or so left before the half-mile trek back to the Morisco Tavern and a fine lunch. Lawrence Main and 2 dowsers had previously and independently suggested that there appeared to be a stone circle to the south-west of the Tump, which marks the centre of the island and is exactly west of Stonehenge. What megalithomaniac, armed with a good theodolite and willing helpers to carry same, could resist such a challenge? Initially, I was unimpressed with the site, but choosing a spot estimated to be close to its centre, the theodolite was duly stationed, levelled, and used to get an accurate azimuth from the sun. A radial survey with tapes and using the theodolite bearing of the centre of each stone was used to make a quick but adequately accurate record of the placing of each stone. The bookings were recorded by Adrian Hyde, tape runs by Hugh Newman. In less than 90 minutes the data was on the paper and the gear packed up. Pat Toms and Adrian Hyde helped carry it all back. My thanks to both of you for that. On returning home, calculations undertaken in my blossom-bedecked garden produced that most welcome of plans, a once geometrically perfect example of a type 1 egg. More than this, the largest known in the UK. Despite the damage done to the right side of the ring, and that the modern coastal walk footpath weaves across its western edge, the geometry is plainly revealed. Further work showed that the axis of the ring pointed directly to the tump at the centre of Lundy, the elbow point or right angle of Ynys Ellen, Lundy's old Welsh name. Even more calculation revealed that the axis was also oriented to the rising of the moon at its minor standstill in the north. For an archaeoastronomer, this is very funky. Archaeology still has to catch up with the rest of us concerning Alexander Thom's geometries and the astronomical realities measurable at many, many sites. This little article may help them to at least begin that process, and also my forthcoming book, Alexander Thom, Cracking the Stone Age Code. For the rest of us, and particularly those who delight in megalithomania, feast your eyes on this Lundy egg, a long-held secret from prehistory now revealed at Beltane. Organic and free-range too.